everyone. Welcome to the Leafy podcast. Very excited to be here. This is our very first episode. So just
Number
wanted
one.
to, yay, episode 1. My name is Tammy Gearling. I'm the podcast manager. I am joined today with our wonderful, awesome hosts for this show, Brian Price and Jennifer Gligorich. I said it right, Jen?
Said it right.
Yes, I got it. See?
Gligoric, but it's Gligorich. That's how you actually say it.
Gligorich.
It's okay.
Oh.
That's good. We've only known each other for like, what,
5 years. I'm just call you whatever, I only know Jennifer because she's like saved my life several times. She is always like the HR hero who comes in and builds amazing teams. She's always there to make sure that everyone does their job perfectly well, and she has saved my life several times. So I love Jennifer, and I am so excited to be on her team, her and Brian. And so I guess to start out, let's talk a little bit about just each of your backgrounds and where we're coming from at this time. So who do you want to start off?
I don't know. Ladies first.
Okay.
Jennifer?
I was going to say the CEO, Brian, should
Well,
start.
yeah.
No, well, actually, it's a good story because I met Brian because Brian hired me for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I had spent like 20 years in crisis intervention for small businesses, and I had a heavy HR bent. And it's weird because that's not how I started out. I started out doing sales and marketing, like old school telemarketing. And then I worked up, and most people would hire me for that. And in the end, what I was doing was really HR and organizational stuff, because a company never tanks because of sales or marketing. I mean, that's all you hear, especially entrepreneurs, talk about, but really it's HR. They're hiring the wrong people, they're putting them in the wrong jobs, paying them the wrong wages, they're not managing the teams. And so when you're talking about, entrepreneurs and real estate investors, who are smaller organizations, which is who I dealt with for a long time. Sometimes I get to like medium-sized companies, but pretty much with small, entrepreneurs that I would deal with. It's them, so it's a lot harder sell when you're not saying, okay, the organization needs to change. You're going, now you need to change. So Brian, I did a video, and he hired me, and we worked in the trenches of a foxhole of a crazy digital marketing niche, and scaled it up. And I met incredible people, though. It was really like being in war, but I'm still very close to everybody. So I spent the last, how much is that? 8 years, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, working with remote professionals, because that's the wave of the future, is remote work. It's ecologically smart. You don't want to be building these big plants to bring people in if they can do it from home. It's better for the environment. It's better for people's costs in their life. If they know how to have work-life balance. If they don't, it's very detrimental. So you have to, depends on your personality, and scaling companies. And now we're in an incredible niche where we get to help people in a way that just brings all of our experience together. So I don't know, that's kind of amazing. So
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
All right, Brian, what about you?
Well, I have a kind of an interesting past as well. Yeah, I've been working for about 20 years. I've experienced since I graduated from college, which actually was an engineer for the first 13 years of my career. Worked in a number of startup companies, helped them grow in various things, from being a software person to doing product marketing to doing application engineering, and then even doing quality for consumer electronics. So pretty peppered past of different things that I've been a part of, and really looking at how to make companies grow, and actually learning what not to do from a lot of these places as well. Is that there's a certain trends that go along with that. And so after 13 years of doing that, I wanted to change something different. And actually in the same time, in 2008, I actually had my own kind of tailors into why we created Leafy Phoenix as well, is I actually had a rental property that I ended up losing. And so I was in massive debt. I had over $1 million in debt, and was having my children and, you know, moving into a house that we were going to rent from the houses we own, and ended up moving from an engineer into the company that Jennifer was talking about when I brought her on board. I had started with that company, which was 3 people, me, the founder, and a virtual assistant that we had started. And that was kind of the first company that I had really started with that was in the virtual area. And so since then, that was 8 years ago now. You know, in less than 4 years, we went from $50,000 a month to over $75 million in revenue in less than 4 years. And so from then on, I moved to other companies to help them to grow operationally, you know, help them to, you know, build their infrastructures, you know, scale the company, and work with, you know, sales and marketing, get things rolling. So, you know, I currently have helped a number of different companies in different areas, in e-commerce, online businesses. I forget more than actually help this. It depends on the different areas. It's pretty,
Amazon. You worked at Amazon. I remember that. That was one.
Amazon stuff. I've done some just general e-commerce stuff. I've helped people with their product development cycles as well. So a lot of cool stuff that I've been able to help people with, even the self-defense industry as well. Has some pretty exciting stuff going on. So yeah, I've always been someone that likes to learn more, and so really excited to what we have to offer with Leafy Legal Services, and kind of moving things forward from there.
I have a question, Brian. This is for you. So based on what you were saying, how do you feel like what we're doing now with Leafy Legal and the product and services that we offer, which is, for those of you who don't know, we help real estate investors and entrepreneurs protect their assets, build generational wealth, help them build their business properly, and estate planning, things like that. So how do you feel like what we're doing now, how that could have helped you back in the day when everything tumbled down, and you ended up losing your rental property? Do you feel like it would have been helpful from that point of view?
It would have protected me. Even if I hadn't lost it, it could have protected me from losing it. But also, you know, when I had tenants and stuff, they were refusing to get out of the house so I could properly sell it. And so, you know, that was an issue. And then when it did get taken away, it ruined my credit for quite some time too. So had I had proper structuring, it would have protected specifically my credit for the most part, but it would have helped me with a number of other things too. So absolutely, if had I had the right structuring for those, for my rental property, I probably would have been a little bit better off. You know, though I have bounced back and I'm better than ever, so that's great. But it would have been helped to you know, shorten that recovery period quite a bit.
You know what's interesting is I talked to someone who owned a financial services company for quite some time. They sold it to a huge bank. They ended up having, you know, hundreds of title agents and mortgage brokers and financiers under them, et cetera, et cetera. And his wife works doing mobile titling. And he was telling me, and I was telling him, you know, what we do and stuff like that. And he said, well, you know, that is so important because every day, you know, he goes, see this printer back here? Every day I'm printing out packets for my wife to take over for title. And there are things, because people have so much in their own name and they keep it in their own name, they do their businesses in their own name. And so they have these lawsuits that come along with it that are clog up their closing, you know, and a lot of it's just medical bills. And he said, a lot of people don't realize that with the structure you're providing, then it frees up and makes sure that your credit isn't attached. So yes, this is a medical bill and different things like that, but that credit won't go towards these properties because these properties are not in your name. So it helps protect your credit to move on to other areas. And I'm thinking, well, how does it do that specifically if it's still under your name and you're still having to get a mortgage? Well, what it's doing is it's preventing that from attaching to your properties.
Yeah.
When it can't attach to your properties, you're able to sell it, then you can make the money, you can pay your bills, and you can do it, and then you're not in that problem. So it's one of those things that if you have the right structure, then you're stopping that ball from going off the cliff and tumbling down into this big mess. And I didn't even think about that. Like I knew it, you know, we've been to so many conferences and we've heard so many incredible people talk, and, you know, we're on Bigger Pockets, and I'm constantly reading things that people write on there. But the way he explained it for that, I guess because I know him, you know, so it just like really, I don't know, it made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think if you can protect your credit, it gives you a lot more options to do business and move forward, because there's always ebbs and weaves, especially in the real estate market. You know, we've had the ups and downs with it. And if you can stay at least structured in such a way you can continue to do business, that really helps you be able to move your business forward.
Yeah. You know, Tammy and I were talking, she was asking me, you know, about my origin story. So a lot of people don't realize that, you know, I come from this really great family. If you met my family now, you'd think, oh, they have a silver spoon in their mouth your whole life. But during the time I was in junior high and early high school, everybody went to pot. I ended up being a homeless teen, right? So I was a pregnant homeless teen. And I was there in Miami, and luckily, Covenant House is there in the Fort Lauderdale area, and they only help homeless teens. But I was able to get into college, and I did that all while being homeless, right? I mean, sometimes I didn't have a shelter. Sometimes I was just like in the bushes sleeping because I knew I had a class and I had 2 jobs I had to go to. But it gave me a real education for how easy it is for things to tumble out of control. You know, and I think that's why personally it's so important to me, because that still affects me, you know, having lived in poverty, having starved. It affects things that I do. It affects my weight in certain ways, you know, because I think I'm never going to starve like that again. But it also reminds me of safety, how important it is for people to feel safe, because being homeless and being in shelters and meeting other homeless people, they weren't all just crazy people who needed to be taken care of by the system or lazy people. It was amazing how many families that I met that just a month or 2 prior had shelter, had a house, had jobs, and then a tumble effect happened in their life and they were living in their car. Wow. And so now the ability to say, hey, if you can get the structure and you can do this, even when really bad things happen, let's say the economy craps and this craps and your job craps. If you have the right things in place, you don't have to end up in your car. Right. So I think that's important too, because if people I don't think a lot of people realize how easy it is to tumble down the hill until they've tumbled down the hill. And one thing's led to another. You know, so if there's one thing I could do is say, yeah, it can happen. I don't mean to scare you. And I know this is scary, you know, and I'm not trying to scare you into telling you something. It's something you can easily afford to do. And then you don't have to worry or be scared. And it keeps predators away, which is, I think, a big deal, you know, especially when the economy starts to go down, people get more predatory. They are looking for ways to sue. They're looking for ways to make money in ways that they wouldn't have before because they're desperate. Yeah. And this is a good way for people to insulate themselves from people who just get desperate. You know, they're not all bad, evil. I mean, they're not nice.
Yeah, but some of them are just companies looking to get paid, and the companies that they were working with went bankrupt because of the economy, and they're just looking to, you know, find that money. So yeah, they'll go after you. I saw several cases here in the Orlando, Florida area in the 2008 recession that really surprised and shocked me, and made me very scared too. So you never know. I mean, hard to live in fear like that, but when you can set yourself up so that couldn't potentially happen, I mean, then you can just rest easy and you don't have to, you know, think about that or worry about that quite so much. So, but what I wanted to ask both of you is, what should our listeners expect from this podcast? What do we have in store for our future episodes and future guests that we bring on?
Okay, well, I can say that. Well, we're going to help real estate investors. We're going to teach them different ways to protect their assets. We're going to bring on specialized guests that can talk specifically to real estate investors. Then we're also going to talk to entrepreneurs. Because Brian and I both have a big background in building businesses for entrepreneurs, from helping them brand to other things, we're gonna want to talk about that. It's important for us. It dovetails well into the real estate market, because it doesn't matter if you're a digital marketer or you're doing affiliate marketing or you're just thinking about something on top of your extra job. Everyone's thought about real estate. They've thought about flipping houses. They've turned on HGTV and went, man, look at that, And so I think we're going to talk to that, but be more specific in the background, the structure, the nitty gritty of kind of the boring things, but try to make it a little bit fun so they're not like bored with it, to help them. I don't know. What else do you think you want to bring on, Brian?
Yeah, I think also different areas of real estate investing, I think is great. Always have a number of people that we'll bring on, like hard money lenders, and just give you guys a good breadth of what it takes to really be, not only if you're already investing to protect your investments, but what to do in order to get into real estate investing and entrepreneurship. And so I'm really excited about, looking at how do we get into being a real estate investor as well, because I think it helps to be able to expand, not only, get into it, but expand as well. I can also share a lot of my marketing experience as well to, help real estate investors, get into a better situations as well. So, and getting the word out and, even with co-opting with a lot of folks, there's a lot of people that have financial advisory type of things where they have clients that are interested in real estate investing. So we'll be able to partner with some of those folks and bring them on as well. So quite a few cool avenues we're going to take this to kind of give a good breadth of everything we can offer into this field.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'm really excited to see what we have in store and see some of our special guests that we have moving forward and coming up. So awesome.
Tammy's our podcast manager, so like she's the one making it. Yeah.
Might just be reaching out to you, audience. You never know.
I reached out to someone today. I read a response they gave someone on a real estate forum that I thought was just spot on. The person had been to auction, got very excited, bought 2 auction properties, like one was $12,500, the other one was like $23,000, and then went to go to financing, but financing was only able to help with the cost of it. And then they panicked because there's rehab involved. You have to have the rehab. Now you've bought the property, then you have your payments, then you have your insurance, all the stuff that goes into it. And so the guy is here in Houston. I'm hoping we can get him on the show, because he said, okay, this is the avenue you need to take. You first go here, then you contact these people, then this is another thing you can do, don't freak out. It's great you're excited, but there are other avenues you can take. So I thought that is so useful, because I'm bad at auctions. Like I will leverage anything to win. I get very competitive.
Oh boy.
You're not winning. It's ridiculous.
No matter what, even if I don't have the money, I'm going to get you.
Don't ever take me to an auction. If I'm drinking wine, forget about it. I'm a Bonnet Trump, or one of those really rich people. I'm just like there.
And also what we want to offer too is getting the right protection and give you the right resources in order to help you make the correct decision. Because unfortunately, there's people that say that they're doing the right thing, but they're not necessarily doing that. And I actually came across an article the other day where the Wyoming Attorney General is actually suing LLC company in Nevada for doing LLCs incorrectly. So there's a lot of that stuff too, is these companies may not know what they're doing. And so, really what we're looking at especially with what we offer at Leafy Legal, is that we want to make sure we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed to make sure that we are following everything to the nth degree. So we have a really big pulse on, what are the laws really saying? And we have a number of paralegals and lawyers that we have around the U.S. to make sure that we're doing everything to the law, because the law does change from time to time. And so we need to make sure we're on that. But, we'll be bringing you interesting things like that as well to, kind of give you an idea what to be aware for, and make sure you're on the right side of the law, because that's the worst that can happen is you get structuring and then realize it's all for naught. And so
because everything's not always cookie cutter. It's, like circumstance is always different from the next person, and all you need to do is, have someone give you the advice to go online, do one of these really quickie deals, you fill something out, it's $1 or whatever, okay, great, I'm covered, and then come to realize, like, I did it all wrong, I didn't go through the process correctly, I didn't even know there was a process, I thought I just had to fill it out and submit it online and I'm done. Like, no, it's never that easy, and every situation is different.
Law, but you need to make sure that you have the right people to make sure that you have the right kind of structuring in place that will protect you fully.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to cost $50,000-$60,000 unless you're you have a huge consortium, 18 partners, 19 $5 million apartment complexes or condos. That's gonna be expensive. But for your average real estate investor, you can actually get very good structuring for an affordable rate that protects you. Now, nothing can guarantee you against getting sued. People can sue, but what it can do is make it to where it is just not financially advisable for them to sue. If they do it, they're just not going to get anything because you don't really have anything, because you're separating it correctly and you're keeping a corporate veil there. And there's no way to really pierce that, especially if you use anonymous trusts, the way you're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so if any of you have questions or want to talk to someone, we do offer a free consult on our website as well. So, feel free to sign up and we'll talk to one of our advisors to be able to help you as well. So, we are here to be a resource for you and, advise you on what the best way is for either it's Series LLC or anonymous trust or, some sort of combo package that makes sense for your situation.
Yeah. And even if you're an entrepreneur and you feel like you have a unique business and you would like to find out how best to structure it, you can just give us a call too. We talk to entrepreneurs who are not even investors all the time, and there's different forums and things that we can do for you. In fact, we're going to put the link under the video or near the video at the end of what to click, and it's a free consult.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this advice could go to anyone, even fellow podcasters. Like your intellectual property is something that you need to safeguard, and so really, I mean, it just pays to even ask. And free consultation, I mean, you can't go wrong. There's no stupid question, so, and I think you guys would be okay talking to someone who's just starting out, like a newbie like me, or someone who has like 10 properties who just would like to make their life easier. I think even going into like, hey, I've been in business for 10 years and I didn't set myself up correctly at that point. Can I still go backwards and do it now? I mean, that's something you guys could also specialize and help out with as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. I mean, some of the situations, if you're talking to an advisor, they're going to want to take all the information that you can give them, whether or not you're new or not, and then they may not have something right away, especially if it's very complicated. And we might have to want to talk to one of our attorney partners on that and say, hey, this guy, there's 10 of them, like I said before, there's 10 of them, they own all these properties and blah, blah, blah. What's the best we can do? Because there's many different remedies for it. And there's different even states that you can organize in, and not all of them are perfect. We know what the ideal structure is for most, and that's what we're going to go with, which is a Texas Series LLC. It's a great structure, but there's other states that we can do it in too, and there's a lot of things that can be done based on your personal situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic.
Cool.
All right. Well, I did want to ask you guys where you came up with the name Leafy Legal from and Leafy Phoenix. So is that something you guys could just let us know about really quick? Because I'm sure other people are wondering why Leafy Podcast. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is our logo. You can see. And it was interesting. We actually originally started out as Leafy Phoenix. We came up with the name Leafy Phoenix for more of a marketing-based company. And so we were kind of thinking about, something growing, and so Phoenix kind of came out of it, and eventually we kind of came up to Leafy Phoenix. Someone suggested it. And so it we kind of molded over. At first we weren't sure about it, and then it kind of stuck. And then we got the logo made, and we kind of just fell in love with that logo. And so when we decided to form Leafy Legal, that we thought, that logo would be awesome to also have with it. And so also it comes with growth and everything that kind of encapsulates what we really want to do with Leafy with our customers, is help them grow their businesses, whether it's real estate, entrepreneurship, or any other kind of, estate planning. And so it kind of dovetails onto that kind of same way of thinking when we originally came up with the name Leafy Phoenix.
There's a lot of wine involved. I'm going to admit it, coming up with the name. But also too, we had been burnt by other past clients. So it was the idea of rising from the ashes and creating something new. But a phoenix just burns and it becomes the exact same phoenix, and then it burns again, right? So the idea of having leaves that go and populate trees that continue to grow. And so even when things happen, you can still have something still growing, and eventually you'll have a forest and you'll be able to insulate yourself. Again, the idea of safety. So it was that idea too, like if we can make something that even in its burning is creating something new and wonderful that can grow past the phoenix and keep on and keep on and keep on. So yeah.
That's awesome. I was just thinking we should, on our logo, we should ask our audience to name our mascot. Our Leafy mascot. We should start off a contest. Everybody comment below.
What do you want the mascot to be?
Yeah, what should the mascot's name be? Yeah.
I know. He's Leafy and Phoenix. Got to think on this. So the audience, you guys have to come help us out with this one.
Right. That is a great idea. Bob. Call him Bob. Yeah, I always like
Bob.
Bob.
Bob the Phoenix.
Yeah, no, think of something great.
Twiggy. I don't know.
So you always have to think about it, right?
Yeah. Well, thank us. Help us out here, guys.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Do you all have anything else you wanted to wrap up with before we let our listeners down for the day and get to creating our next abundant episodes here on Leafy?
Nope, I can't think of anything. This is great.
I mean, the only thing is we have a free ebook if you guys want to grab it. So we'll put the link below here, and you guys can download that for free to learn more about what we do, and particularly this series LLC and how it can protect you. So I'm happy to look through that. And again, we're here for whatever needs you have to protect your real estate or businesses. So give us a call, and we'd love to talk to you and see if we can help.
And we love to learn too. So if you're a real estate investor, even if you don't own a big company, let's say you've done 2 flips, but you learned something amazing, whether it's a great vendor or a trick or something that you've done, or a property manager, just write us and let us know and say, you know what, I learned this. And then we might have you on the show, because I'm wanting to learn, so you don't have to have your own podcast. You can just have something of value to say, and I would just like to meet you. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Anyone, if you see the show and you're interested in becoming a guest here because you have a story that you would love to share with us, please email me at Tammy, Tammy, at leafyphoenix.com, and I will get right back to you. And I apologize if you guys hear thunder in the background. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and we have a hurricane currently approaching our coast. So Dorian is about to really wallop us. So so I do apologize if you keep hearing thunder back there. Maybe Jennifer, you can cut it out if you hear it.
No, all I'm thinking is this is dedication, folks.
Right? Yeah. Like I'll be like the weather people. Like it's so the wind.
We really need to help you investors.
Yeah. Just keeping it real here.
With your perfect makeup. So great.
The bucket of water gets thrown on.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, everyone, please have a wonderful day. Thank you again for joining us. We have really enjoyed talking to you all and can't wait for the interaction. Please do email me if you have a question, a great story, want to be on the podcast. We would love to hear from you. So have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, night, and we will hope to hear and see you again. So bye for now.